Timeless reading for Taurus, starting with soul resistance and wrong. This is very obvious to me. There is something working for you in the background, like your true self or your so-called higher self is calling for you. It's trying to guide you, but you don't want to listen because it triggers you. Like there is a discrepancy between your true self and your human self, and your true self calling your human self, but you feeling this huge resistance. Resistance also, sometimes I see this card just as triggers being pushed and pulled. And also there is something about feeling or thinking that something is wrong. Maybe your true self wants you to do something that you feel is wrong for you, or just wrong in general. Like there is, but I also feel drawn to the happy facial expression of this heart, this flying heart. Like your true self hasn't given up on you, and your true self is very understanding, knowing that the world you live in, the society you live in, there's a certain conditioning around you that makes you think and feel like this is wrong. Something is very, very wrong. Yet with the wrong card, there is that you, not as a soul, but you as a human being, there are two sides to this card, I feel. Like on one hand, you feel and think something is wrong. On the other hand, there is a very, very small spark within you that it feels like seduction is the wrong word because it's usually used in a sexual context, but I don't get anything about this here. Maybe for some of you, but this is not the focus here. Oh my god, what is the word again? Something is very appealing. At the same time, you feel and think it's wrong. So, but the wrongness of it feels like for you it is like it feels 90% wrong, but 10% within you feels like, but actually I would like to try this. Actually, maybe it's not that wrong. You know what I mean? With abundance, compassion, and naivety, I'm also getting to things like there is, I feel like you just can't inwardly make up your mind or make up your heart, if I can put it this way, about something here. On one hand, you perceive something that sounds very promising and as if it would bring abundance and compassion, like it would maybe something would sort out wrong people in your life and bring in good people who belong with you. And there is also, abundance on all levels, extreme satisfaction. But it all sounds too good to be true. Like you think someone who would fall for this, someone who believes in whatever this is here, might be very naive. And if you just would blindly walk into it and believe it, you would end up as a complete idiot. That's what you might fear, or that's what you might not fear. You just think this way, like, I'm not gonna fall for this. I'm not gonna make this mistake. Thinking that the outcome would be super abundant and compassionate, not falling for this trap. Yet, at the same time, you have second thoughts about it, second feelings, and maybe you might also already start to sense that maybe you are overthinking something. Maybe life has beaten you so much that you can't even believe in something positive anymore, something that feels abundant and true compassion among people. Maybe you have experienced a lot of negative social constellations or interaction in your family, in your false friend circle. Maybe you are not very young anymore, so you are not very naive anymore, and you have had your certain negative life experiences that were very painful, and now you grew out of it. You are getting older, and you don't believe in these positive things anymore because too much has happened. And now you start to realize that you have become maybe a little bit too negative, a little bit too bitter, and you might at the same time, like on one hand you are afraid of being too naive, yet at the same time you feel like maybe you are too cynical already. Always expecting the worst, always expecting that something is a trap. Because a lot of times something truly is a trap. So you might wonder if this thing actually is a trap or not. And I feel like at the end you will realize it is not. And I feel it is not. I feel there's something really good coming your way, and you are doubting it heavily, very heavily in the beginning, as I said earlier. Like 90% in you has a negative attitude towards whatever this is that is slowly starting to show up in your life, and did this certain offer. But I also feel like I can't tell you exactly how long it will take. Maybe for some of you just a few days, but for many I feel like it will take several weeks, and then it will shift from 90% doubt to 10% doubt, or 20% doubt. Like the positivity I think will take over, and maybe it's just some kind of reward after having had a life of a lot of misadventures, failures. And I also feel like you should not and you will not blame yourself for being so in quotes negative in the beginning, when this abundant offer showed up, that you doubted it and only saw the negative aspect in it, or the negative consequences it could bring. You don't have to blame yourself for that, because I feel like whatever you've been through in your life, it was very painful, and it's justified, very justified, that you have this kind of doubtful mindset. So you don't have to worry about not immediately seeing the true abundance in a situation. It will come, shift automatically, and that's what I also wanted to say. That's what I immediately saw. This is a very spiritual reading, and I feel like your true self, or your so-called soul, or so-called higher self, is working for you here. It has always been working for you, also when very painful and negative things happened, because your soul wanted you to learn something as a human being on earth. And maybe your own soul has tortured you a lot, so that you can have certain understandings. And now you don't even expect anything good anymore. You're just glad if you can live somehow, and not super horrible things happen to you anymore, but you don't expect super big positive things happening. Maybe, just as an example, some people are very unlucky with romantic things. Some people never find anyone to marry. They always have problems with that, and then they give up on that. Maybe they just have some 2 or 3 unhappy relationships, or something very unrequited, or they're being cheated on. And then, I don't know, in their 40s, maybe they give up on that, and maybe they have some couples around them who are still happily married, and they always wondered why it never happened to them. And then in their 50s, they never ever think about it anymore. They think like, okay, that's just how my life was. I never found anyone to get married to. And it just seems to be my destiny to be by myself. And then suddenly when you are 55, you're meeting the love of your life. And that's not how movies show it to us. In movies, people are always 25 when they find the perfect relationship. You know what I mean. The perfect relationship also in quotes. This is just as an example. This hasn't got to be your story. It could also be related to your career or to several fields in your life. But I feel that there's something very happy and abundant coming towards you, and you might not expect this anymore at all. Or even if you are still very young, maybe you have some very negative diagnosis from a doctor. Like young people can also be very ill, very sick, or have some terrible restrictions that other young people don't have, and that maybe you are getting my point. Just something you have entirely given up because you feel like life has already proven to you this specific thing will never work for you. And when you see something and it feels like you can grab it, you might doubt it. You might doubt that you actually can grab it. Maybe you have been in a situation where actually something already looked like it is not out of reach for you. You can't just take it. But then always something, when the moment you wanted to grab it, something came in the way and pushed your hand away. And this is so painful for you that you really entirely had given this up. So I am repeating myself, so I'm just letting this part go. And I am going to shuffle some lifestyle and health cards for you. So this DJ card has already jumped out. Maybe you wanted to become a DJ and now you are 51 and you think you're too old to be in the club. I don't know. This is just an idea. Could have an entirely different meaning. Whatever you can relate to this card. Then comes lungs. I will not interpret these cards for you too much. Sleep, gift, art, hiking, music and DJ. Oh, and seer, one more, danger. Okay, I'm gonna leave it here. Thank you for watching.